Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Parker, again. Back again with the first action figure review in probably over a year by now. But today I'm very glad for it to be of this 2-pack. Of course, we have one of the newest 2-packs released in the Star Wars Vintage Collection. Obi-Wan Kenobi from Utapau, and then the Airborne Clone Trooper from the 212th Battalion. Now this has been quite the, everyone's been excited for this pack ever since it was announced. Not too excited about the price, $40 for 2 figures. Kind of crazy, especially considering the scale. But I found this for a hefty discount at Walmart, $24.99 as opposed to the $40 it usually goes for. Now let's take a look at the box here. Of course, in the front we have some beautiful action figure posing. You see Obi-Wan there with the Jedi robes, and then obviously the reason I bought this, the Utapau Trooper. We got the Revenge of the Sith logo, and then we have, when it tells you what it includes, obviously, Obi-Wan and Utapau Trooper. Then if we take a look on the sides of the packaging, we get a nice picture of the Utapau Trooper just walking, and then on the other side we have Obi-Wan. This is obviously a test image because that paint is a little too crisp for Hasbro's, Hasbro's liking. And on the back we have what both the figures look like on card back, and of course they look nice. Just pictures from the movie, of course that one iconic image of Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi that everything uses. And then we have some nice star details on the background, a bunch of warnings, the Vintage Collection logo. Now let's get this opened up. I actually already cut into the tape here, but I haven't opened the figures because I was really excited to get this on my YouTube channel. I just opened it up so I could look at them beforehand because, of course, I got a little impatient. So it comes with some paper here to guard the figures from the box. So the first one out is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, if we take a look at that face sculpt, that looks very much like Ewan McGregor. That's actually a very good likeness. Of course, with the technology they have nowadays, there's no excuse for it not to look good. And then, boom. We look back. He actually, I don't know if this is the first Obi-Wan to ever do it, but it is crazy to see him have an extra hand to do the force push. Of course, we see the soft goods robe on there, his lightsaber, and then just the hilt so you can peg it on. We have what the box showed. We have that one iconic picture of Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan. Got some, just the branding on the back, looking like the classic Vintage Collection packaging. Shows him posed up with the alternate hand on there, then it has a little description. On the planet Utapau, General Obi-Wan Kenobi faced General Grievous and his 4 imposing lightsabers. Upon defeating Grievous, he escaped in the Warlord Starfighter. And that's obviously after Order 66 is commenced. So of course it's a beautiful looking figure. Then of course the reason everyone bought this pack, we have the Airborne Clone Trooper from the 212th Battalion. Now I just have to say this is one of the nicest looking clone troopers I think I've ever held in hand. I mean, the Vintage Collection has just gotten it down to a science. It just looks utterly fantastic. We zoom in here, we could get a look at some of the paint decal. That orange is just really nice. You can see the soft goods little comma there. You can see all the lining. You can see just the minuscule little details. Obviously, he has all the sashes like to do, and he comes with the 2 standard issued guns for every clone nowadays. We got Revenge of the Sith logo, Airborne Clone Trooper, and then we have a picture of the Airborne Clone Trooper from the movie. And as you can see, it's a fair likeness. The only thing that's different is this one doesn't have any weathering like the Saga Legends one had. I think that's the line it came from. But it looks very nice. And then on the back, of course, we have the classic Revenge of the Sith, or not Revenge of the Sith, Vintage Collection backing. And then we have the little description here on Clone Commander Cody's orders. 212th Battalion, specially trained clone paratroopers searched to no avail for their missing former commander, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And of course, that's after Order 66, then Airborne Clone Trooper, the Vintage Collection. And I'm really excited to get these guys opened up. And I will be back with you guys in a second with these guys out of the box and ready to pose around. Alright guys, we are back. Open these figures up and I got them in some nice dynamic poses. So I'm going to start with Obi-Wan. Not really the reason I bought this set, but I am pleasantly surprised with how nice this figure is. Let's take the zoom away a little bit. So, of course he has the... Of course, let's start with his 2 accessories. He has his lightsaber, which is nicely molded, has all the paint where it needs to. It looks good. And then, of course, he comes with the hilt that you can peg into his robes, I guess. So you have the hilt there. And then his other accessory is the hand, the force push hand. He does come with one that's in the box, the regular one that's also you could hold the lightsaber with, but obviously no one's going to use that one. So as we get a nice look at this figure here, let's take the knee out. You can really tell the detail they put into it now. Like, just looking at that Ewan McGregor head sculpt is just simply fantastic. Like, that is crazy. Imagine showing someone that watched the original Revenge of the Sith movie, showing them this figure, saying this is how they would look in 20 years. Insane. But of course, we have the soft goods cloak, which you can remove. It's just, he's got to kind of stretch it off a little bit. But this is, I don't know if we've ever seen this exact one before, because this tint of brown is very unique. And the hood is actually like stitched down, so you can't have him hooded up, but that's okay. It looks pretty good, just like how it is. And then the actual Obi-Wan figure, you got a nice, it's a single jointed elbow, but it's big enough, they make it comically large to where you can get pretty much 90 degrees on it. He has just a single hinge at the shoulder, which is all you really need for a figure this small. He has a ball jointed head. With how Vintage Collection, you know, how they do their heads now. He has swivel at both wrists, and then they both have hinges, but it's a lot easier to get this hinge to move since it's kind of meant to. Then you get the force push motion looking. And then he has an ab crunch. Not substantial, but at the same time, you don't really need it to be substantial since, you know, you have enough movement in the legs. Then down here, we have a ball joint at the hips, and then also a swivel at the thighs, or a cut at the thighs. We have a single jointed a single joint at the knees, but obviously, again, they made it quite large, so you can still get about 90 degrees. Then we have a rocker ankle, and that also is hinged. But aside from articulation, this figure just looks like super duper good. It's a nice looking, I mean, the robes, everything just comes together, and it's like, damn, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Of course, we have some more soft goods going down at the lower robe, so he can kick out, he can, you know, do the dynamic poses you want him to. It's just a nice inclusion whenever they do it, so they can actually move around instead of like 2005 ones, which are super stiff and stuff. But you can get him into some nice poses. The paint is very nice. There's not a whole lot of bleed. Like if we look here at the brown robes underneath the white ones he's wearing, you can see there's not like any bleed whatsoever into any other part of the sculpt or paint. Then down here at the waist, we got the belt kind of, and you can see like the nice little gold and silver accents going on there, painted atop the brown paint. You can see all the detail they put in there. It just looks really nice. I mean, for the most part, this is a pretty simplistic looking design overall. There's not a whole lot of color going down, but when there is paint to be done, I mean, they do just a stellar job here. I mean, you can even see down here, this color is, the color from the upper thigh is painted on the lower leg right here at matching the knee joint, when this is actually just the molded color, this kind of burgundy boot he's wearing. Obviously, hands don't really have any paint, you don't really need them. But the head is looking very nice. The brown's where it needs to be. The eyebrows look good. Nothing is like popping out at me as there's any defects in mine or anything. The hair is sculpted nice. There's no paint wash on it or anything, but you don't really need it again with a figure this tiny. You can skimp out on some of the details, but for what they can do, they do a very good job. And of course, we can get the robe back over here, get that on him. He is a Jedi Master after all. The only thing I dislike about soft goods is it is annoying to get back on, especially the robes sometimes. Especially with an outstretched hand like this, it's kind of a struggle. Boom. There we go. Finally got the arm back in there. And boom, you got Obi-Wan in his Jedi robes. Of course, the robes look very good. You can't really control them. There's no wire in such a tiny robe. But I think it does a very good job of portraying kind of the baggy look they have in the movies. And of course, when you get his lightsaber in hand, in his hand. It just looks like absolutely stellar. This is just a great looking figure overall. And the inclusion of the force pushing hand is one I don't know if we've ever seen before in Vintage Collection. I'm not the most caught up on Vintage Collection releases, but again, this is just a super cool inclusion. From the Vintage Collection figures I've gotten, they're not one to like take hands out of pegs and stuff, but for them to do it just to give him quite an iconic, Jedi pose is just really nice, and he looks really good with it. I'm definitely gonna leave him with the force push hand as opposed to the regular gripping hand. But overall, it's just a nice looking figure, and we can always peg in the lightsaber hilt into the little peg hole, and of course that sits there nicely. You can cover it up with the robe, so maybe he's like undercover. But yeah, a very nice looking figure, a very good looking Ewan McGregor depiction. But now let's get on to why most people are buying this pack. Sorry, Ewan McGregor, but it's all for the Airborne Trooper, 212th Airborne Trooper. Now, of course, I got him in a nice little pose. Let's take the gun out. We'll take a look at the accessories first, which is not many. Again, 2. So he comes with the long, I believe, DC-15 blaster rifle. Of course, that's the same one they've been using for a while, since the Phase 1 Clone Trooper, I believe. I think that's when they started using it. I could be wrong. But of course, very nice sculpting, kind of a gunmetal, but lacking the shininess. It's still a very nice sculpt. And then I think this is the DC-11 blaster pistol. I only remember that because of the Battlefront 2 game. But of course, shine a light on it. You can see the sculpting details. It's the same kind of gunmetal plastic color, and it just looks really nice overall. We get these same 2 blasters with every single Clone Trooper release, so it's not anything crazy. But onto the Airborne Trooper. This guy has pretty much the exact same articulation as Obi-Wan does. The new Vintage Collection ball joint head, so you can get him looking up a little bit, but that's just because the helmet is so bulbous. And then this little ammo pack does kind of hinder this movement, but if you like pop it up, you get decent shoulder articulation. Of course, super big joint at the elbow, but also it gets you a little more than 90 degrees. You have swivel and a hinge at the wrist. Honestly, better hinge than Obi-Wan just because he doesn't have any robes to mess it up. But whoops, this thing's sliding off. But as you can see over here, you can get better. It's still not 90 degrees all the way out in the shoulder, but it's better than this one just because nothing's messing with it. He does have about the same ab crunches. Also, you can get the little piece down here does allow you to get some more waist swivel. And then down here we have a ball hinge at the hip, and then a thigh cut in the armor so you can swivel it. A single hinged knee joint, but at the same time it's pretty big, so again you can get a little bit more than 90 degrees. I'd say 91 is even pushing it. And then we get down here, rocker ankle, and of course the single hinge, just like Obi-Wan. And then just for the aesthetics of the figure is just like, wow. The Hasbro has just perfected what Clone Troopers should look like in 3 3/4 inch scale. So of course we have the very shiny orange paint that they've used on pretty much every single clone. I actually have some of the 2/12 clones from the pack. I think this is Waxer, if I'm not mistaken. So right here you can tell it's the same paint. This is a bit glossier than this one. This is a bit more, I'd say, weathered, just because I've messed around with it a bit more, but it's the same orange, so they're gonna look good in the display together. You got all the little stripes, and I want to say it's mostly just stripes. And then you got down here at the belt, you have kind of like the T's colored in. You have the one knee pad painted orange. The other one has 2 stripes on it. Turn it around. Not a whole lot of paint on the back, but you have all the paint where you need to be. The black jumpsuit underneath the armor. You got the little communicator on the right wrist. I mean, it's just super nice. Of course, you have the little sash here. Now, I will say it will slip off if you have him like standing just like this. It's gonna be a little slippery, but if you have his arm up, it's gonna stop that from happening. But then you have the other little sashes leading into the kind of belt here. You have absolutely wonderful soft goods comma it's nice to see these come back. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen these. As of recent, they've been coming back, but for years we were cursed with hard plastic ones that don't allow the figures to move whatsoever. I mean, you could just get this guy into a ton of poses. The helmet looks absolutely just perfect. Zoom in a little bit. As you can see, no like horrid paint mistakes either. Not even any like clumping, honestly. Even the black little grills here got it down perfect. The black stripe. I mean, you can tell a little bit where it like starts and ends, but it's fine. And then you got the orange on kind of this mouthpiece, and then the stripes above the visor. It just looks fantastic. Now, this guy standing along with his 2/12 brothers looks, absolutely amazing. Super big shame that they locked one of the most desirable army builders behind a $40 2-pack with a non-army builder. I love Obi-Wan, but I don't want 6 Obi-Wans laying around my battlefield. And that's the biggest problem with this 2-pack. These are both fantastic figures, but $40 and putting a army builder in a 2-pack locked behind a Kenobi tax. No offense, love the Kenobi figure, but if you want clones, it's a tax. It's just a shame because this figure is just so good. I mean, it has the paint where you need it to be. It just looks good. They finally perfected the body for clone troopers. You can get him in any pose you want. Give him any gun you want. He'll be able to stand with it finally in like the Clone Wars ones. But it's just such a waste, quite frankly. Like, they're releasing the Anakin and Cody 2-pack. I will put it up on screen when I find it because I don't have that picture downloaded just willy-nilly. But that makes more sense. You have 2 named characters. You're not going to army build Anakins or Commander Cody's. But of course, you want at least like 3 or 4 Airborne troopers if you want to do a true Utapau kind of like display. And you have to buy 4 Obi-Wans. I mean, you're going to be pawning these Obi-Wans off like they're silver, quite frankly. But overall, I think this is a fantastic 2-pack. It's great to finally see, one of the most desired clone trooper designs finally be adapted into the vintage collection faithfully. I know AliExpress has had the knockoffs going on for quite a bit. In fact, hold on. I have a few, of course. I have Commander Thorn, and he's a very good figure. But we can't let the knockoffs win. Of course, they're not as good as this one. I never got any of the Airborne ones because I needed some more fight with first. But it's just a great figure. It's nice to see the helmet is still bulbous, but believable if you look at like other Clone Trooper head sculpts. And of course, this Obi-Wan is nice. You could have him fighting Anakin. I don't have an Anakin, sadly. But, you could have them fighting, or him going up against General Grievous in Utapau. Have the iconic hello there scene. Overall, I recommend this pack highly if you could find it at a discount. Like $24 is a very good price for 2 ultra realistic and hyper detailed 3 3/4 inch figures. But overall, a great addition to anyone's collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely the style of content is switching up on my channel. We're gonna stop the the Family Guy stuff, and we're going back to comics and action figures and movies and stuff. The next video will most likely be a breakdown of a comic series which I have loved for years, and I hope you guys stick around for it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.